Now, before we finish things out on text formatting, I want to show you one more special set of tags that's new with HTML5. For that, let's open up the Tryout Contextual Tags HTML document. Just like before, we'll open it up also in our text editing app, and we can see what we've got to work with. Now, in this case, I've got a typical document. It's got headings and paragraphs, and everything's marked out fairly well. But in HTML5, we want our browsers to also be able to read through the files just as easily as we can. And we can make that easier by including a special set of context section tags. Now, let me show you how these work. I'll start off with the very top. Most documents on the web have three basic sections on the page that we can see. We've got a header area that usually defines the owner of the site and includes things like navigation. Then we have content, and we follow that with a footer area at the bottom. Now, the idea of these tag sets is to make your browser just as smart about where these editors are as we are. So we're going to mark them. And in HTML5, we have brand new section headings for each one of those sections. Now, currently, I'm showing a document with content on it and an address at the bottom. So let's break our document up into three sections. I'll go right inside the body tag, and I'll add a header tag. Of course, like any other tag, we need a close header. And inside these tags would go any kind of content that identifies our company or sets up the navigation. I'll just put in an Our Company placeholder piece of text. And now let's go down and set up the footer. I'd like the footer to include the contact us and the address at the bottom. I'm going to put a start footer tag at the beginning of that paragraph and an end footer tag at the end. Now, let's save our changes. And if I go out and take a look at our page, the only change that we're really going to see is that our company is now at the top in the header section. We really didn't change the content of the formatting at all using these tags. And that's not really the point. The point is, if a search engine came and looked at our page, it would know to ignore the header section and possibly ignore the footer section if it wanted to index the content of the page properly for the search engine. And that's basically what we want to have happen. By using these tags, we can identify those areas and not only set it up for the server, but later when we start working with CSS, we'll find out that we can use those tags, for instance, to create a different style in the header setting than we would in the normal body of the document. Now, there's a few other tags that we can use here in addition to the header and footer tags. When our document is broke up into sections of content, we can identify each individual section with the section tag. I've got a heading at the top and another heading that indicates section 2. And to use this tag, I'd simply add a section tag at the beginning, of course, a closed section tag at the end of that group, and I'd create a new section tag for section 2. Of course, I need to close it as well. There are a few other tags that you can use like this. For instance, there's a figure tag if you have an image that you want to show, or an aside tag if you've got some text that's kind of off the main topic. Now let's try these out. I'm going to save my file, and I'm going to go back over to my page and refresh it. And this time we'll actually notice that there is a slight difference in the size of our headings. So we can see already that headings inside of sections can be treated a little bit differently than normal headings in the content page. We'll see a lot more about that in the CSS chapter. For now, let's go back and take a look at our file. Now, there's a lot of other tags like section, heading, and footer that we can use. For instance, there's an aside tag if you've got some text that's outside of the normal content but relates in some way. You can also use a figure tag to identify a chart or a figure that goes with the text. Like all the rest of the tags, I'm only showing you a part of them in these lessons, but when we get to the last lesson, I'll give you some references where you can look them all up.